So good morning to all the students. Today we are going to start our data structures class. This is our first class in this semester. Before going to the actual topic of data structures, let me discuss the syllabus part. Right. So have you gone through this particular syllabus which I have uploaded in the LMS?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you see the screen here?
Yes,
Syllabus.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So in this particular semester, I am going to deal the data structure subject, and as you know that I will start my discussion with the syllabus part. Right. So the data structure subject consists of a total of 5 units. In the first unit, we have the introduction to data structures. Even though he has given the introduction to data structures, the syllabus has been framed for the first unit in such a way that it includes the basic concepts. Not only the basic concepts, it also includes some advanced topics like stacks and queues. Previously, our syllabus used to have the stacks as one separate unit and queues as one separate unit. And you can see here that they started the discussion with linked lists, right? Previously, what is there is linked list is a separate unit, stacks is a separate unit, and queues is a separate unit. But in R20, probably in R19 also, we have the same syllabus. They have combined the stacks, queues, and linked lists. Right. So it's a very big chapter we have. It's a big unit we have, and there are a lot of important questions and concepts that we need to learn in this data structures first unit part. Right. Even though the title is given as Introduction to Data Structures, we'll start our discussion with what abstract data types are and what is this list ADT and what are the stacks, queues, all these things we'll discuss. Right. And coming to unit 2. So in unit 1, if you go to the brief overview of this unit 1, we have introduction to data structure. We'll be dealing with what ADT is, abstract data type. ADT stands for abstract data type. And after that, we'll see what are the categories of data structures. And then we'll see what are these linked lists, what are these stacks, various applications of stacks, what queues are actually, and what are the applications of queues. All these things we'll discuss. So majorly we have introduction to data structures, categories of data structures, linked lists, stacks, and queues. 5 important topics are there in the first unit. And coming to second unit, it is again divided into 3 important topics. It consists of 3 important topics. The first topic is related to searching method. Searching, right? We have only 2 searching algorithms that we need to discuss in our syllabus part. That is the linear searching, and the second one is the binary search method. And coming to the sorting method, the second major topic of the second unit, sorting, we'll discuss various sorting mechanisms such as selection sort, insertion sort, quick sort, merge sort, and heap sort, right? And coming to the third part, the third major part of second unit, we have hashing, where we'll discuss what hashing is, why we require this hashing, and what are these hash functions, what are the characteristics of hash functions, and what collision is, and how do you resolve those collisions, right? Which is very important topic. All these things we'll discuss. So majorly in second unit we have 3 topics, that is searching method, sorting, and hashing. It's a very easy topic, but it's a lengthy unit, right? And coming to the unit 3, it consists of a simple topic which is trees. Only one topic has been incorporated in unit 3, that is trees. But then but we need to discuss a lot of terminologies related to trees. We need to discuss what trees are, we need to discuss what binary trees are, and how the trees differ from the binary trees, and how we are going to implement these trees, what are expression trees, and majorly this particular topic, binary search trees, we call them as BSTs. In short form, we'll call it as binary BSTs, right? So this particular topic is very important. You can expect a lot of questions from this binary search tree, right? And coming to unit 4, again we have trees. The unit 4 is also trees. but we have advanced trees, right? Up to this binary search tree, it is somewhat easier to learn and implement these things. But these AVL trees and B trees, and similarly the red black trees, splay trees, all these things are advanced binary search trees where we have different topics or different concepts where we need to learn in depth, right? So coming to Unit 4 and Unit 5, both of them also deals with the trees, but they are advanced trees. Advanced search trees, we'll call them as advanced search trees. In Unit 4, we'll be dealing with AVL trees and B trees. And in Unit 5, we have introduction to red black, right? We won't deal with what are the operations of red black trees. Why? Because we are having the syllabus part confined to only the introduction of red black trees and split trees. And this particular topic, the comparison of such trees, is very important, which is a very simple topic, but you need to concentrate more on it, right? And the last part of this 15th unit is priority queues, where we'll develop some priority queues, binary heaps. We'll see how the heap order property is and how we can construct a max heap and min heap. All these things we'll discuss, right? Are you clear about this syllabus? Anybody please respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So the first 2 units, introduction to data structures, consists of 5 different parts. One is the introduction to data structures, categories of data structures, linked lists, stacks, and queues. Lengthy topic. Similarly, Unit 2 consists of 3 major topics: searching, sorting, and hashing. It is also a major and lengthy topic. And Unit 3, 4, and 5, all these things are concentrating only on trees. Whereas in Unit 3, we will start with the introduction part of the trees, the binary trees, and how the trees differ from binary trees, and what are expression trees, and how to implement these trees. And the most important topic related to Unit 3 is binary search tree. Very important, right? And remember that this binary search tree is the base for the other units also. For example, if I want to construct an AVL tree, you should know what this binary search tree is. Similarly, if I want to construct the B tree and red black trees, you should know what binary search tree is. So the binary search trees, which is incorporated in Unit 3, forms the base for the other 2 units also, right? So in 4th unit, we have AVL trees and B trees, and 5th unit, we have red black trees, split trees, and comparison of such trees, which is an important topic, as I told earlier. And other part is priority queues and heaps. So this is how our syllabus is framed. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Now can you see this screen data structures PPT?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Can you see my annotations? Are you able to see my annotations here?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we'll start our discussion with the first part. What do we call it as abstract data type, right? What is a data type? In C programming language, we have learned what data type is. Can anybody tell me what data type is? What is a data type?
అంటే మనం ఇచ్చే డేటా మనం ఎంటర్ చేసే డేటా ఏ టైప్ చెప్పొచ్చు సార్. ఇంటీజర్స్, ఫ్లోటింగ్ పాయింట్స్, స్ట్రింగ్స్, క్యారెక్టర్స్.
So one important point regarding the data type is it specifies the type of data which you are going to deal. Whether you are going to deal with the integer values, whether you are going to deal with the floating point values or characters or strings. So it specifies the type of data. Other than that, can anybody tell me what other information can the data type give?
How much memory is allocated?
Super. How much memory is allocated for that particular data? That means is specified by the data type. What other things can be specified by data types? Anybody? These 2 points are exactly true, but there are some other things where which a data type specifies. Can anybody specify that as important points? It specifies the type of data, it specifies the size of the variable or size, what memory should be allocated. All these things is correct. But other
Sir,
than this, it also specifies one important thing. What is
sir,
that
it
one?
tells us how to use that data, sir.
It tells us how to use the data. So, right. So, in other words, we can say that it tells what are the valid operations on the data. Is it right or not? For example, if you consider the integer data type, what valid operations you can perform on integer data type? We can perform arithmetic operators, right? You can perform addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modular division can also be performed. Is it right or not?
Sir.
Similarly, you can also perform the relational operators. Relational operations can also be performed on it, right? So, but if you consider the float data type, do all the arithmetic operators be operated on it?
No, sir. Modulo operator cannot be operated with floating point integers.
Right. We can operate only the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and modulo operation cannot be performed on it. Right. So it also specifies the operations. Right. So three important points what a data type specifies is, the first one is it specifies what type of data or the range of data or the range of values you can store inside that variable. Similarly, it specifies how much memory is required for that particular variable. Similarly, the third important point what a data type specifies is it specifies the valid operations, the variety of operations that are valid on that type, on that set of values. So it specifies the data and operations. Majorly, if you consider what data type is, it specifies two important things. One is the set of values, and the second important point is the set of operations. Is it right?
Sir, right, sir.
Right. So only two
Yes, sir.
important things you should remember, that is a data type specifies the set of values and it also specifies the set of operations that can be performed on those set of values. This is what a data type is, right? And now we are going into another important topic which is called as abstract data type. Can anybody just give me a guess on what abstract data type is? We know what data type is, but what is this abstract data type? Abstraction. What actually is abstraction in English?
To extract, sir, something.
Abstract is something that is not that clear, sir. I mean,
Yeah.
it is hard to put in words or imagine.
Yeah. Abstract means where we don't know anything about it, right? Abstraction means we are some implementation details are hidden from users, right? For example, in real world, if you take anything that you consider in real world is an abstract thing only, right? For example, if you consider a simple mobile where you are using it on a daily basis, right? As a end user, you are very much aware of how to use that mobile phone. You know how to make a call, you know how to cut a call, you know how to send an SMS. All these things, you know how to play music or how to play movies, all these things, how to browse the things, everything you know about it. But can anybody try to understand what internally a mobile consists of? Is there anyone who has opened their mobile phone to check what IC they have used, what Wi-Fi module they have used, and what sensors they have used? Can anybody did anybody open the mobile and check all these things, internal functionality, right?
No, sir.
Nobody will do it, right? Similar that is called as abstraction. Abstraction means the implementation details are hidden from the user. As an end user, you are very much aware and you are very much accustomed to work on it or to use it with with very easy operations, right? But as an end user, you are not aware of what internally it consists of, how they are implemented, what data structures they are using. uh, all these things are hidden from the user, right? This is called as abstraction. Not only a mobile phone, you take a remote control of your TV, or your set-top box. If you consider the remote control, you know how to use it. You know how to change the channel. You know how to increase the volume or decrease the volume. All these things you are very much aware of it. But you never know, as an end user, you don't know how it is implemented internally, right? Similarly, you take washing machine, you take computer, you take refrigerator, anything, you take TV, television. Everything is abstract in the real world now, right? Similarly, leave about all those things. Now coming back to our data structures concept, we are in the abstract data type, right? We know what data type is. Data type specifies two important things. One is the set of values, and the second one is the set of operations that we can perform on that set of values. So coming to the abstract data type, we are not worried. We know what abstraction is. We are the implementation details are hidden from the end user. This is called as abstract. So if you combine these two things, abstract data type, so the implementation details are the operations that can be performed on the data is hidden from the user. This is called as abstract data type, right? So if somebody asks you a question like what ADT is, in short form we'll call it as ADT. ADT is an acronym for abstract data type. So if somebody asks you what abstract data type is, so it consists of a set of values and it consists of set of operations, but the implementation details are hidden from the user. Such type of data types are called as abstract data types. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
you can see the screen, right? Abstract data type screen. Can you see the screen? ADT.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Right. So it is abbreviated as ADT. As I told that it is an acronym for abstract data type. So ADT is defined in such a way that it is a logical description of how we view the data and the operations. As I told that what data type consists of, the data type consists of set of values which we are calling it as data. And similarly, a data type consists of operations that can be performed on that data, right? So a logical description of how we are using this, how we are viewing this data and operations without regard how they are implemented. This is what I am telling what abstraction is. Abstraction means the implementation details are hidden from the user. As an end user, you don't know how they are implemented. So if you are hidden, if the end user is hidden from the implementation details, but you know what data can be used, we know what operations are there, but you don't know how these operations are implemented, what data type, what data structures are used to implement these operations. All these things are hidden. So that is called as abstract data type. And this term is also important. It is a logical description. It is a logical description. You are not going to implement it, right? When you implement it, that name of this abstract data type changes from abstract data type to our topic of discussion, which is called as data structures. We'll see the definition also, not an issue, right? So if somebody asks you what an abstract data type is, you can simply say that it is a logical description of how we view the data and the operations that are allowed on that data without knowing or without worrying about how they will be implemented. This is called as abstract data type, right? So what this means is we are only concerned with what data is representing and not how it is eventually be constructed. We are not worried about how the data type is constructed. We are not worried about what operations and are implemented for this data type. Right? So this is called as abstract data type. Right? So the abstract data type is an abstraction of the data structure. Right? Here is our topic of interest, that is data structure. So a data structure is nothing but it is an abstract data type is nothing but an abstraction of data structure. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
nothing to worry about it. If somebody asks you, or if you want to write a definition of abstract data type, you can write it on your own. An abstract data type is a logical description of how we view the data and the operations without regard to how it is implemented. This is a simple definition, right? As I told that what ADT consists of, ADT consists of the following components. It consists of a name, right? Right, abstract data type. For example, int, is it the name of the data type or not? Similarly, float, is it the name of the data type or not? So any data type you take, any abstract data type you take, it consists of a name. Right? Similarly, it consists of the data type or the data types represented by a collection of data. This is important, right? So any ADT you take, it consists of collection of data. And the third important component of any ADT is it consists of functions that operate on the data. This is what we are saying from the first point onwards, we are discussing this thing, right? A data type consists of set of data and set of operations. Simple thing. What a data type consists of? It consists of set of data and set of operations. Operations are implemented using functions in C programming language. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Similarly,
Yes,
it
sir.
consists of some preconditions. Similarly, it consists of some post conditions. Preconditions means what conditions are to be applied before implementing these functions, right? Similarly, post conditions. After executing the function, what is the condition that need to be checked? Those are called as post conditions. And the last one is error conditions. If the function failed to execute, then what type of errors we are getting, that is specified by error conditions. And remember that how many total components are there here in ADT? 6. Out of the six components, the first 3 components are mandatory. These are mandatory parts. And the next 3, which are nothing but the precondition, post condition, and error condition, are optional. Therefore, an ADT may consist of preconditions. An ADT may or may not consist of post conditions. Similarly, an ADT may or may not consist of error conditions. But an ADT should consist of a name. It should have a name. It should have a collection of data. It should have a collection of functions. That is the reason why I'm saying that the first 3 parts or the first 3 components, like the name, data collection, and functions, are mandatory parts in an ADT. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So each ADT definition consists of a data. We know it, what data is. This is nothing but it specifies the structure of data that is used in the ADT. What type of data you are using, what range of values you are using in the ADT, that is specified by this data part. Similarly, operations means this part describes the valid operations on this ADT. We will see. As I told that if you consider an integer data type, what are the valid operations? It is arithmetic, relational, logical. All these things are valid only, right? In arithmetic, if you go specific manner, in arithmetic we have plus, minus, star, division, and modular division. All these are valid. But if you go for the float data type, arithmetic, relational are valid. But if you go for the arithmetic, only addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division are valid. Modular division cannot be operated on this floating point number, right? All these things we know, right? Similarly, in the coming chapters also we'll discuss what valid operations can be performed on different abstract data types. For example, if you consider the linked list, what are the valid operations we can perform? Similarly, if you consider stack, what are the valid operations? Queues, what are the valid operations? Trees, what are the valid operations? All these things we'll discuss, right? So for each operation, arguments, operation means, what do you mean by operation? How do you implement operations in C programming language? Anybody? What is an operation and how do you implement this operation?
By using operators, sir.
No.
Using operands.
By using?
Operands.
No, Amma, no. that is related to these arithmetic, relational, and logical, right? But remember that an operation is nothing but, for example, if you take stacks, you can insert an element into the stack, or you can delete an element from the stack. If you take queues data structure, you can insert or you can delete an element, right? So these are the valid operations. Operations are nothing but functions. So whenever you want to implement an operation on a particular data structure, you should implement it by making use of functions. This point I have told in the earlier session also, in the earlier slide, right? So in C programming language, if you observe the C programming language, if you go back to the C programming language, whatever task you want to perform, that is performed using functions. Did I tell you on the when I am explaining the C programming or not? Any task you want to perform, you will be implementing the tasks using functions only, right? That is the reason why we are saying that we cannot write a C program without a single without making use of a important function. What is that function called?
Main function.
Main function.
Right. So anything you want to implement, for example, you take factorial. We have different operations for the factorial, right? So you take the input from the user, you do some operations, or you do some operations. All these things you will pack it and you will put it in the function, right? So if you take a C program, it is nothing but a collection of functions. Do you accept it or not? A C program is nothing but a collection of functions. So any task you want to perform, one person may complete the task in single function, or one may divide it into two or more functions, or somebody may divide it into some n functions. So it depends on the programming language, programming logic that the developer is using, right? So anything you want to perform in the C programming language, that should be performed using functions only. So operations are nothing but the valid functionality of that particular data structure, right? So how do you implement these operations? Means they are implemented by using functions in C. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in functions, does the functions have arguments or not? Yes. Does the function have a
Yes,
return
sir.
type or not? Yes. Does the function have some pre-conditions, post-conditions? All these things are optional things, right? Similarly, the third one is, this is also an optional thing. This part describes the errors that can occur when you are dealing with the programming part, or when you are dealing with the functionality implementation, right? Is it clear up to this point?
సార్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ రిటర్న్ టైప్ కూడా ఆప్షనలే కదా సార్, మనం వితౌట్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ వితౌట్ రిటర్న్ టైప్ కూడా రాయొచ్చు కదా సార్.
Yeah, those are also optional only, but some functions may have arguments, some functions may have return type. We have 4 categories of user.
4 categories.
Yeah, you know
Yes,
all
sir.
these things, right? So the point here you have to remember is, operations are an important part or important component of ADT, and these operations can be implemented using functions in C programming language. This is what you have to remember. That's it, right? Functions,
Okay,
and
sir.
all the concepts that are related to functions can be applied in this particular ADT also, right? Now let us go with an example of modeling an ADT for online shopping system. We know how online shopping system, right? So the data that is stored inside this online shopping system, for example, I want to develop an online shopping system and I want to write an ADT for it. Whenever you are asked to write the ADT, remember carefully, this is very important. Whenever you are asked to implement the ADT of a particular system or a particular data structure, what you have to do is, you have to specify what data is stored. Why? Because ADT is nothing but a collection of data and collection of operations, right? So you have to specify these two important things: what type of data or what collection of data you are using, what collection of functions you are using. Those two things should be specified, right? So this is very important. So whenever you are asked to write an ADT, you should specify what data, what operations, and what errors that may arise. during the execution of that particular. Right? Is it clear? ADT means you should specify the data. ADT means you should specify the operations. ADT means you should specify the errors. These three parts constitute the ADT. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Online shopping system. So, for suppose somebody had asked you to implement the online shopping system ADT. So, what are the three things you have to specify? You have to specify the data, you have to specify the operations, and you have to specify the errors also. Is it clear? Right. Now we are going to see the first part. The data that is stored is the buy or sell orders. This is what we are going to do in the online shopping. Either you are going to buy or either you are going to sell. So the orders, the sell order or buy order is the data which you are going to store. And coming to the second part, you should specify the operations for the ADT online shopping system. Right? The operations that are supported by this online shopping system ADT is order buy. And I told you, right, these operations are nothing but functions. So a function may or may not have arguments. A function may or may not have return type, and it may consist of some preconditions or it may consist of some post conditions. So if you consider the first operation, that is nothing but a first function. That is, what is the name of this function? This is order by. It's not order by. By is the name of the function. And what is this order? What is this order? Anybody? Can anybody tell me what is this order?
ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా ఇన్పుట్ సార్, అంటే మనకి ఇది కావాలి అని అడగడం.
It's not an input. Inputs are given as the arguments. What are these operations? How these operations are implemented? Using functions. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
What a function consists of? It consists of a return type. It consists of the name, and it consists of arguments. Is it right or not? Now I am saying
Yes,
that
sir.
by is the name of the function. So name is written, and arguments. What are the arguments it is accepting? It accepts the stock, it accepts shares, and it accepts price. So this function returns. What is this returning? It is returning a data type called order. So the order is nothing but the return type. Similarly, it can have another operation which is called as sell. It also accepts three parameters or three arguments. One is stock, shares, and price, and the return type is order. And the user can cancel the order also, right? So there exists an operation called cancel, which accepts an input of order, and the return type is void. So these are the three operations that are described on this ADT. What is the name of the ADT we are discussing? Anybody, please respond. What is the name of the ADT we are discussing?
Order.
No?
Online shopping system.
Super. Online shopping system is our ADT. So I'm going to define the ADT for this online shopping system. So for that, I have the data as buy order and sell order. And three operations I have described on this online shopping system ADT. One is buy, sell, and cancel, right? So it accepts different parameters. Buy accepts different parameters, sell accepts different parameters, and cancel accepts only one parameter, that is order, right? And there may be some error conditions. There may be some error conditions. For example, when you want to buy or sell a non-existing stock, this is an error condition, right? The stock does not exist, but you try to, as an end user, you try to buy that particular stock. So that should raise an error. This is the error condition. Similarly, you want to cancel a non-existing order. You didn't buy anything, but you try to cancel an order, non-existing order. So that should be an error. So all these are some brief ideas. All these things give some brief idea on how these ADTs are implemented. Right? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is ADT?
Abstract data.
So that is the abbreviation, abstract data type, but what actually is ADT?
Logical description of how you view the data and operations.
The part. Logical description of how you view the data and operations, right? Without regard, without concentrating on how you are going to implement it. That is called as abstract data. So what are the important components of ADT?
Name of the data type. Collection of data. Collection of data. Functions.
So name, data, and operations. Name, data, and operations. Right. So if anybody asks you to implement an ADT for a particular data structure or for a particular system, so what are the three things you have to do? You have to specify the data, what data you are going to use. You have to specify the number of operations and the the prototype of that particular functions. And similarly, you have to specify the error conditions if any. The error conditions may not be mandatory, right? So this is all about the abstract data type. So when we move into the actual topics of stacks, queues, and linked lists, we'll again discuss what these abstract data types are with respect to ADTs. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now coming to our actual point of discussion, that is data structure. What actually is a data structure? Right. So a data structure is the physical implementation of an ADT. This is a vague definition of data structure. We know what ADT is. It is just a logical description of how we view the data and operations. And we are not bothered about how they are implemented. This is abstract data type. But if you try to implement the abstract data type, that is called as data structure. That is called as data structure. That is the reason why we are defining the data structure as the physical implementation of ADT. What is ADT? It is a logical description. We just say these are the data we are going to use. This is the collection of data we are going to use. And these are the operations we are going to implement it.
Voice break అవుతుంది సార్.
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందమ్మా?
Yes, sir. Sir.
So if you consider the abstract data type, it is just a logical description of data and operations. That means we will specify what data is to be used. We will specify what operations are to be used. We will specify what error conditions may arise, but we are not bothered about how they are implemented. But when we go to the data structures part, we are going to implement that thing. So in this particular data structures, this is the physical implementation of the abstract data type, where you are going to implement the data abstract data type, right? Here we'll check what data structure is best suitable. So we'll go to the internal implementation. So abstract data type means we are not bothered about the implementation. Data structure means data structure itself is how we are going to implement it. Physical implementation of the ADT is called as a data structure. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. Here you can see
Yes,
that
sir.
each operation, what do you mean by operation? It is nothing but the functionality of the data.
Functions.
Right. So each operation associated with the ADT. For example, if you consider the previous example which we have taken as online shopping system ADT, what are the three operations that we have used? Do you remember?
Sell and cancel.
So
Sell and
buy,
cancel.
sell, and cancel. These are the three operations I am specifying, or I am going to implement it. In ADT, I will just tell that these three operations need to be implemented. But when you come to the actual physical implementation, we'll make use of data structure, right? So each operation associated with the data ADT is implemented by one or more subroutines. What do you mean by routine? What do you mean by routine? Anybody?
Common.
No, Amma.
And
Daily tools.
Repeated activity, sir.
Okay, repeated activity only, but that's the actual daily life usage, right? But programmatically, or in terms of computer science language, a routine is nothing but a function, right? Some programming languages, they make use of the terminology called function. To implement a task, you write a function. Similarly, some other programming languages, they will make use of the terminology called routine, right? Don't go into the actual meaning of this routine, right? Routines are nothing but functions. Some programming languages, they call it as functions. Some programming languages, they will call it as routines, right? There's another name for the routines or functions. Some programming languages, they will call it as procedures. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
procedures are same as routines. Routines are same as functions. These are all the synonyms, right? It depends on the programming language which you are going to use. Some programming language, they will use functions. Some programming language, they will use as call it as routines, and some programming languages, they will call it as procedures, right? So each operation we associated with the identity will be implemented with one or more subroutines. Now you tell me, what do you mean by subroutine? You know what routines are? Routines are nothing but functions. Subroutine means sub-function, right? So you can divide a given task into two or more parts, or n number of parts. Is it clear? So in C programming
Yes.
language, the last topic which we have discussed is top-down approach. C programming language uses the top-down approach. What do you mean by top-down approach? A large task is divided into small subtasks, and each subtask is implemented with a subfunction, right? This is how the actual C programming language will work, right? So if you are given an operation to be performed in a ADT, then you can implement it either using one or more functions or sub-functions, right? So, but this is the actual definition. Data structure usually refers to an organization for data in main memory. This is very important. So this is all about the original definition of the data structure in terms of ADT. The physical implementation of an ADT is called as data structure. So whatever operation you have in the ADT, they can be implemented using one or more subroutines or subfunctions. This is what the actual data structure definition is. But you can also give a simple definition if somebody asks you what a data structure is, how you are going to organize the data in the main memory. This is very important. We have two types of memory, right? One is the primary memory and second one is the secondary memory. Primary memory means main memory. Secondary memory means HDD,
Auxiliary memory.
auxiliary memory or hard disk drive, right? So whenever you have some data, how you are going to store, or how you are going to insert, or how you are going to delete the data, we are going to simply, we can call it as organization. So how you are going to organize the data in the main memory is called as data structure, right? Similarly, how you are going to organize the data in the external disk, or otherwise we can call it as secondary memory, that is called as file structures. This file structures concept you will come across in the operating system subject in your coming semesters. Don't worry about it. There is a special chapter for this file structures. You remember that file structure, the name itself is saying that how we are going to structure, or how we are going to organize the data in the main memory is called as data structure, and how you are going to structure or organize the data in the secondary disk is called as file structures. Files concept you have learned in C programming language. Do you remember the topic?
Yes, sir.
What
Sir.
actually is file? What actually is file?
Collection of data.
Collection of records, and where we are storing these files? In the primary memory or secondary memory?
Secondary memory, sir.
Secondary memory, sir.
Files have the permanent storage, therefore they should be stored in the secondary memory, right? So whenever you organize the data in the secondary memory, or whenever you structure the data in the secondary memory, that is called as file structure, and how you organize the data in the primary memory is called as data structure. Is it clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. I think it is time up. In today's class, let me have a quick recap of what we have learned in today's class. In today's class, we have gone through the syllabus part. We got some idea on what topics are there in each and every unit. And then we have started our discussion on abstract data type. We started with what abstract data type is. An abstract data type is a logical description of data and the operations without regard to how they are implemented. We know what data is there, but we don't know how the operations are implemented. That is called as abstract data type. And next one, we have discussed that the abstract data type consists of 6 different components. That is the name of the abstract data type, the collection of data, the collection of operations, preconditions, postconditions, and other conditions. And out of these 6 components, the 3 components, that is namely name, collection of data, and collection of operations, are the mandatory part, and the remaining thing, preconditions, postconditions, and other conditions, are optional thing, right? So if we have gone through an example of online shopping system ADT also. Anybody asks you to develop an ADT for a particular system, you should write only 3 things. The first one is collection of data, the second one is collection of operations, and the third one is other conditions, if any, right? So this is what we have discussed, and we have gone through an example of online shopping system ADT, where we have buy and sell orders, which are called as the collection of data, and we have implemented 3 operations, that is buy, sell, and cancel, with different arguments and return types, and the other conditions we have specified accordingly, right? And then we have moved our discussion to the original topic, that is the data structure. A data structure is nothing but the physical implementation of the ADT. So each operation which you specify in the ADT, we are not bothered about how the operations are implemented, but in data structures, as you are physically implementing the abstract data type, you should know how they should be implemented, what data structure should be used. So each and every operation is implemented with one or more sub functions or subroutines. We have learned the new terminology here, right? One is ADT, and the second one is what routines are, what procedures, what are functions. All these things we have discussed. Functions, procedures, and routines are similar to each other, but they differ. The terminology differs from programming language to programming language. So a vague definition or a formal definition of data structure is the organization of data in main memory is called as data structure, and the organization of data in the secondary memory or the permanent memory is called as a file structure. So this is the end of today's session. Tomorrow we'll again